welcome. This is the Voice of Eve. Our topic today is women and the war against corruption. Stay tuned with us, we will soon be back. Corruption, especially the big-time looting of the public treasury, brings down the economy. It afflicts the nation with what we call the leaking bucket effect. Someone who is in a position to know has said that our country is overwhelmed, suffocated, and paralyzed by corruption. But women are generally believed to be less corrupt. What do they say? Can we help? When we come back, you are going to be seeing and hearing from one of the icons on women's thoughts on the war against corruption in Nigeria. So stay tuned with us. We will soon be back. I am Dr. Violet Arene. Mrs. Oretayo Adetola, it is a real pleasure and privilege for me to have the opportunity to interview you today in the Voice of Eve.
My pleasure, you're very welcome.
You are first in many areas, but I remember your special participation in journalism. You were also once a member of the Constituent Assembly, 1988 to 1989. You're a women's leader in the most populous faith organization that I know. You're a top executive at the regional and provincial levels. You're a special advisor on women in this same faith organization, and we are talking about millions of women all over the world.
Thank you very much.
You're a mother, you're a grandmother, you're a courageous widow, and a former politician. Tell us, madam, what helped you to achieve so much in these multiple roles?
Without having to think about it, I would say the grace of God, coupled with a good, solid foundation of positive upbringing. A training to be dedicated to anything and everything that I'm called to do and to do it excellently. Because you could have the best education, you could have the best opportunity, you could be the most hardworking. If God does not bless the effort, it is to no avail. So it is primarily the grace of God.
Did your being a woman help or hinder you?
My being a woman, in many instances, has helped me. Sometimes it can be a hindrance. It has helped me in the sense that even in those days when they didn't think much about putting women in responsible positions, I have been at the right places to be able to access what God has for me. And again, by the grace of God, most of the people responsible for the decision taking are taking the chance and say, let's use this woman and see how she will turn out. So I started by being a token woman, although still in certain instances I'm a token woman, because right now, in most of the positions that I'm holding, I'm the only woman among the many men. Yes. Sometimes it can be a hindrance. Yes. Because even when you have been given the chance and you come in to work with the men, their stance, their attitude is, what can a woman do? So you have this awesome responsibility to continue to prove yourself that a woman is a human being. And the fact that she's a woman does not mean that she's a useless person. A woman can be as strong, in other sense of the word, if not physically as a man. A woman can be intelligent, more intelligent than most men. A woman is focused when she takes her responsibility seriously. So when they want to present obstacles, it also gives you the challenge to prove to them that a woman is not a useless person.
A senior advocate of Nigeria, who is in a position to know, said that corruption has overwhelmed, paralyzed, and suffocated our country, Nigeria. On my own part, I call corruption a canker and a cancer that is holding the nation hostage. In your special situation, and as a stickler for purity and righteousness, what do you have to say about this, and what are you doing about it?
I've tried to do the best I can in the circumstance. I edit a woman's magazine, and I try as much as possible to comment, to profile solution, and to give advice concerning the cankerworm of corruption. I preach about it whenever I have the opportunity. Not the least, I pray about it because I believe in prayers. I believe that whatever we ask God sincerely and that we glorify His name, God will do. God is not interested in the destruction of this nation. God is interested in the revival and the restoration, the healing and the glory of this nation. And as we continue to call upon Him, He will continue to help us.
Do you really believe that women are generally less corrupt than men?
A woman is a very powerful influence, more powerful than men, for good or for evil. We don't have reliable statistics in this country, so we can't gather them together and say we have 100 men, 60 women are less corrupt. But the very few that have had the privilege of being put in responsible and high offices in this country, some of them have disappointed the nation. If we bury our heads in the sand like ostriches and we are pretending that the women are doing well, some of them are doing very badly. In the area of this corruption, it's as if they want to prove that they can surpass the men. And that is a very disturbing scenario. So what I'm saying is that there are very few of them there. How many of them do we have? But the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that we have, there are these bad legs among them that are even more corrupt than the men. So we can't say women are less corrupt. We all know it. It's just that Nigerians don't say things up front for everybody to know. But if you go to the internet, for those who surf the internet, we see what some women are doing with our money, what their children who have never had a kobo are doing with our money, not only in this country but outside of this country. Money that belongs to you and I. Nigeria's money. Because their mothers happen to be in a responsible position, but they are not behaving responsibly.
What is your counsel to women involved in the anti-corruption agencies and in prosecution of corruption cases, and also in high positions in Nigeria?
They should stay strong. And if they find it impossible to stay strong in the position, for goodness sake, let them look at the position and walk out of it. They are better off with their integrity, their honesty, and their name intact than to make money tomorrow and they say, Mrs. Lagbaja, and they say, when it comes to that, you have become a useless woman. They don't have to say much. If they call your name and people start to say, you see, it's a very bad sign. So we should have the courage, the guts, to get out of a situation, no matter the comfort, no matter the gains. If we are being asked to do things that we know in our conscience is not right,
yes,
we should be able to confront the situation and say no and stand on our no. The worst is that you will lose the job. After that, what next? At least you go out of there with your reputation intact. Sometimes they tell you, because I've spoken to some people, I say, why are you behaving like this? They will say they can't help the situation. If you cannot help the situation, walk out of the situation. Even by walking out of the situation, you are helping the situation. You would have held your head up as a moral woman, and people would be able to say of you, thank God she did not bow to pressure. Because people are looking and they are assessing the situation. By walking out of the situation and damning the consequences, you are even helping the situation. Don't stay there and help them to make it more corrupt.
There is a general view that impunity, not punishing corruption enough, is one of the reasons why it's flourishing. What's your view on this, and also your counsel your final thoughts on corruption in Nigeria.
They can never get away. They seem to be getting away. Even here, we can see that they are not getting away. There was an incident in this country when a man was pointedly seen to be corrupt. I won't name anybody. Everybody said he was not corrupt. They said they sent him to jail. They brought him and said, this is not the man we sent to jail. But finally, Nemesis caught up with him. He hasn't gotten away with it.
Thank you very much.
Today you know where he is.
Yes.
That is here and now. And let nobody deceive you that there is no hereafter. Those who seem to have gotten away from it here. I have a friend or a mother of my friend will say, if they think they've gotten away with it, let them get to the gate. She's talking of heaven's gate. He said their Lord will be there waiting for them.
Their Lord.
They can never get away from it.
And what is your word to parents? Because in everything, there's a foundation. And all of us are sons and daughters. We came from somewhere.
They should go home and do their primary assignment. In those days, our mothers put everything they had into bringing us up properly. Pastor Adeboye is an example. He said his mother used to say, those other children that are behaving out of order, they are not my business. You are my business. And I will ensure that you behave properly. We can see the result of a dedicated, a committed, a God-fearing mother, a mother who took her responsibility seriously, and the product she gave to the society. This man has become a household name all over the world.
Thank you so much, madam. You really touched me. You have really educated us. I especially love your counsel to women in high positions or who are involved in anti-corruption agencies and high positions in Nigeria. They should not stay there and join them. They should exercise integrity, walk away from it, and uphold the beauty of womanhood. Thank you so much.
And it is my prayer that whatever happens, if men are not able to change this country, God will raise up women that will make a difference.
Thank you, madam. Welcome. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the Voice of Eve. Our topic today is women and the fight against corruption. We have in the studio here today some very prominent ladies who will give their views on what we should do. Dr. Akudo Anyanwu Ikemba, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I know you're a busy woman, but you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rita Dikedi, you are very welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here today.
Same here with me.
So, Dr. Akudo, I know you are a public health professional specialist. You are also the head of Friends Africa.
That's right.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And I will also ask you the secret of your success, because I know you are also a mother.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say that, I wouldn't call it success. I would say it's been an effective and impactful journey so far. And, the secret is, I think it boils down to God's grace, hard work, and optimism, having hope and optimism and a positive approach to things.
Okay. God's grace. I like that. Rita, you are a businesswoman in the hygiene business.
Yes.
You're a professional.
Yes.
What's the secret of your success?
I think it's, I would not remove the God factor like my friend here said. I would not remove the God factor, but I'm passionate about what I do. And if I'm passionate about what I do, it drives me.
Yes.
And I am consistent in what I believe and in what I say.
Okay.
Of course, I will not remove hard work.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yes.
God's grace, hard work, consistency.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Well, you know what we are here for. to discuss a very painful issue in our nation, the war against corruption. Somebody has said that our nation, Nigeria, is overwhelmed, paralyzed, and suffocated by corruption. Is that what you think too, Dr. Akudo?
Well, Dr. Arene, what I would say is that we do have a very significant amount of corruption in our country. However, I think that people in our nation are acting without fully seeing the consequences of their action. I think there is a determined desire to fulfill needs on a constant basis and to do whatever it takes to fulfill those needs. And it's that bit where it says whatever it takes that I think people are stumbling over and making lots of mistakes as a result of that. If they were to be brought into a place where they could actually see the consequences of their actions, I think we could change. But it's that we don't see the connection between our actions and lives lost. We don't see the connection between our actions and the perishing of our society. And that's what I would hope our leaders could help us get people to see, the actual connectivity between us as people and between us and our actions and our society.
This is wonderful. I've never had this angle about corruption discussion in our nation. Getting, especially the miscreants, to see the consequences of their behaviors and their actions. It's well taken. Rita, is that what you think too?
That's what I believe. That's what I think. And it's eaten so deep into the fabric of the society. Growing up, I actually thought it was just public sector based. But now it's even in the private sector. And I ask myself, where are we going from here? And it's basically, it's shocking when we see what happens in the society, what happens when somebody you believed so much in, at the end of the day, is found to have compromised. It's found to have compromised standards.
Yes.
Yes. I used to believe it was a public sector thing, but no more. Right. No more.
It's now like a general cancer.
Yes, please.
It's all over.
Yes.
I call it customized in every segment.
It's happening at the individual level.
Yes. At an individual level. That's what I believe.
It's happening everywhere. It's like cancer of the society. Wow. Then, but women are expected to be generally less corrupt. Is that what you believe?
It's not that men are bad and that women are good. That's not the debate. I think at the individual level, both men and women have compromised their values in our country. And I think that there's a desire to get ahead at all costs. There is a desire to sort of leapfrog procedures and leapfrog steps, vital steps to get into where one is trying to get to, and it's happening at the individual level. However, I think the way we see the difference with women is that there's a tendency for women to be focused on the growth of their families and their communities. And this is, maybe it's in our blueprints genetically, maybe it's because we've been prepared for motherhood and we've been prepared to sort of cater and care for others. And so there is that tendency that when you put a naira in the hands of a woman, she doesn't just think of herself, she thinks about her kids, she thinks about her siblings, she thinks about her parents, she thinks about her society. So they say when you invest in a woman, you invest in the community. And I think that that's where there's that opportunity to change one's actions and one's decisions away from areas that tend to be very corrupt. Yes. I think that when a woman thinks about the impact of her actions on her children and her family and her community, she's probably a little less likely to be corrupt.
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, you believe it too.
Yes. I want to agree with Dr. Akudo, but what is corruption inability to do what is right at the right time. That is what I would want to call corruption. Knowing what is right, but not doing it, it's another thing. So I want to take it like this. Really, corruption starts from the home. And who are the engine of the home? The women. The men that we're looking at that are corrupt came from a home. They came from a home. Sometimes I ask myself, what role have I played at my own level, that this man, that man has done something to the society that is wrong? What role have we played? What role has women played in the family? Because really, when you're talking about these women less corrupt, then I want to say, how did corruption really start? Because it's an individual thing, Doctor.
It's an individual thing.
Yes.
It's an individual thing.
It might not be financial, it might not be monetary, but it can take other forms. It can take other forms.
It can take other forms.
Yes. Physical. I don't want to go into it. But
yes,
physical.
it's actually in the mind then.
Yes.
Doesn't really have to be money. You can do other things that are corrupt.
You want promotion?
What you do about it? It's also corruption.
It's also corruption.
I mean, I also, just to add to what Rita is saying, I do also see a connection between corruption and sort of a lack of understanding or a lack of a clear path for progress. So when people don't understand how they can make progress, there's also a likelihood of corruption. So for instance, if you're in a position and you don't fully understand what to do on the job, or the skill sets are lacking, or there is just a lack of capacity to bring growth in your own life, one of the options is to just go steal. One of the options is to do whatever it takes. There's a way out. Yeah. So if the skill set was there and the capacity to handle some of these positions, then I think there's also a less likelihood that one could go down that route that brings guilt, shame, that brings loss and regret for everybody.
What do you really think about our aspiration to double our economy? This, especially big time looting of money, how do you think it will affect us?
I mean, I think it obviously has a very negative impact, but I think that we have a voice as Nigerians, and you're promoting that voice on this show.
Yes.
I think that as business owners like Rita and myself, who runs a non-profit, we have a voice. We have a voice to our staff. Yes. We can actually mentor them to see that we can actually walk a straight path. I also think that as far as our country is going with the issue of corruption, it's actually not sustainable. It's not a sustainable model. At the end of the day, at some point, the masses will call people to be accountable. We're almost there. I mean,
we're almost there.
It's actually started. It's actually started.
It started, exactly.
Yeah, we can't continue like this for long. It's not a sustainable model.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think the word has gone out. Everybody is watching us. Yes. So women can make the difference. I always believe that. We can change our society.
Absolutely.
We can. And that's why we are here. Thank you for these wonderful contributions.
Thank you. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Akudo.
Thank you.
You know, it's a pleasure. Thank you for
Always
the time.
a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, you've had it all. Everybody should become conscious of a war that must be fought, both men and women. And we believe that we'll get there. So next week, join us for another edition of The Voice of Eve.